What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Offside Shenanigans. It's Peyton and Uncle David. Today we'll be talking about our predictions for the playoffs this year, our thoughts on the Brian Robinson trade, Daniel Jones being the starter and the impacts on players, Tyjae Spears injuries and it possibly benefiting Pollard. The Vikings eyeing Adam Thielen and the impacts of that, Malik Nabers' fantasy impact, and Caleb Williams, how he's looked this preseason and our expectations for him. To start off with the playoffs, I have for the NFC the Eagles 1 seed, the Rams 2 seed, Bucks are 3, Bears 4, Commanders 5, Niners 6, and Lions 7.
I've got the Eagles as the 1, Bucks is the 2 seed, Packers is the 3, the Rams at 4, Commanders at 5, Bears at 6, and Lions at 7.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it fell. I had the Rams, Bucks, and Bears all tying, so it all just went straight to division, and that's pretty much how it was divided up. But in the first round, I have the Rams beating the Lions, Buccaneers beating the Niners, and the Bears beating the Commanders, which led to the second round of the Bears playing the Eagles. They got eliminated. Then the Rams beating the Buccaneers, and then it was the Rams and the Eagles in the NFC Championship, and I have the Eagles winning.
I had the Bucks losing to the Lions. The Lions upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round. The Packers and the Bears playing, and the Packers just barely beating them out. The Rams beating the Commanders, and so then I had the Eagles playing the Lions, and the Lions also upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles with their good offensive line play, and the Packers losing to the Rams. So then in the NFC Championship, the Lions and the Lions moving on to the Super Bowl. After not performing early on in the season, I think that they get it together with their coordinators and make a strong push at the end of the season and are playing their best ball going into the playoffs.
So you think the Lions will get better without Ben Johnson?
No, that's not what I said. I just think that they're going to be playing
they'll
better.
go farther into it?
Yeah. I think that they'll just be playing better at the end of the season versus the other way around. You know what I mean? But they're also going to have to stay sharp because they're not going to be blown through the season right away. Because I think that they're going to have some hiccups with new coordinators on both sides.
Yeah. For the AFC, I have the Bills being the 1 seed, Ravens 2 seed, Broncos 3, Texans 4, Chiefs 5, Chargers 6, and Bengals 7.
I have the Bills as the 1, Ravens 2, Chiefs as the 3, Texans at 4, Bengals 5, Chargers 6, and Broncos 7. All three of those teams have a better record than the Texans. The Texans just the 4 because of the division win.
Yeah. I have the same. In the first round, I have the Ravens beating the Bengals, Broncos beating Chargers, and Chiefs beating Texans. Then I have the Ravens beating the Broncos, then Chiefs losing to the Bills, which leads to the Ravens-Bills AFC Championship. And I have the Ravens winning, leading to the Bills-Ravens Super Bowl. Or not Bills-Ravens. Oh, man. Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl.
Heartbreak for Josh Allen again. I've got the Ravens beating the Broncos, the Chiefs beating the Chargers, the Bengals beating the Texans, and then I have the Bills beating the Bengals, the Ravens beating the Chiefs, and the Ravens beating the Bills as well in the AFC Championship to make a Super Bowl of the Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions. And the Baltimore Ravens beat the Lions.
All right, yeah. I have the Ravens beating the Eagles, but I think that's a really tough choice. The Eagles' defense is better, but I think that's mostly because the defensive line just is going to create everything for them. I think the Ravens have a way better secondary, but D-line makes everything. I think maybe the Ravens' D-line will get better this year than it was last year, but I wouldn't expect it to be way better. You know what I mean? But I have the Ravens beating them out.
So last year the Eagles
beat the
offense. Chiefs, obviously,
yes,
in the Super Bowl, and just crushed. So you
the defensive line,
not because of the rushing, but because of their throwing the ball, passing game. So you think that the Ravens can shut down Jalen Hurts better than what the Chiefs did last year?
I think so, yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't know that they're going to be able to generate enough pass rush, which I think is going to be key. Any secondary, no matter how good they are, eventually is going to get beat if there's no pass rush.
Yeah. I think, I 100% agree with that. I think it does get a little bit better this year, though. I think, what's his name? Mike Green? I think he's definitely going to help quite a bit. But yeah, I think we'll see how that pass rush ends up looking this season. I think it should be better.
I think they've made good moves to get it better. I agree.
Yeah. So for the Brian Robinson trade, I think this doesn't really make sense for Washington. I think this just says that they really believe in Corset. That's his last name, right?
Krosky-Merritt.
Oh, Krosky-Merritt.
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and I think he goes by Bill.
Bill? All right. Yeah. They must really believe in him. He's looked pretty good in preseason. But yeah, I just don't really see why they would trade Robinson. They got a 6. I don't think they didn't really get that much value for him, and I think the Niners just made their running back group even better with this trade.
For sure. I don't know. Maybe there was some kind of friction there. Who knows? I don't disagree. Yeah. I would have rather kept Brian Robinson than Austin Ekeler if I was the Commanders.
100%.
But maybe there's something we don't know about, some kind of friction there going on with Robinson and the coaching staff. And maybe they just like the talent that Ekeler is a better complement to Mr. Bill Krosky-Merritt.
Yeah. Daniel Jones being the starter, I thought this was a big surprise. I thought for sure they would at least let Richardson play a little bit.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think this is just a big shock to a lot of people. But Daniel Jones, I think there's definitely things that one does better than the other. Daniel Jones is definitely a better short yardage passer, which is definitely going to benefit Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren a lot more than it does Pierce and maybe even Downs.
Yeah, I think Josh Downs is probably the most versatile of the receiving crew as far as he can run the deep route, he can run the intermediate routes and everything. But for sure, Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren, I think, get the better chance of production now with Daniel Jones as the QB1. I don't expect Jones to be the QB1 all season, though.
Yeah. I could see them rotating between them.
This is the kind of decision that is made when you bring back a quote-unquote lame duck head coach and or GM. You make a decision that – because Jones probably gives them a better chance to succeed right now, but I don't think either quarterback is in the position to truly succeed right now. They're in a weak division, though. I mean, to be frank, I've predicted that the Texans are going to win the division at 9-8, and the Colts are going to go 8-9. So all they need is a couple of games here and there to bounce their way that we don't necessarily expect to. And so, I mean, this is a winnable division for sure. They have a good roster overall. The biggest, by far, question mark on the roster is the quarterback. TJ Giddens is a good backup and a lot of expectations. He's probably going to be the third down back, and he is a good pass catcher out of the backfield. AR is not really great at utilizing that, I don't think. I don't know that Daniel Jones is either, though. So I think that Jonathan Taylor benefits from this because either way, you're going to want to run the ball.
Yeah, he's still going to get a lot of touches. The Spears injury. I don't think the Titans ever really came out about it. But if he misses a decent amount of time, this will definitely help Pollard quite a bit. He'll definitely. I don't think they have great depth there past them two.
Outside of those two, I don't think that there's much of a consequence.
Yeah, Pollard should be getting quite a bit of touches then.
Yeah, I think it only benefits Tony Pollard even more the longer the injury could go on.
Vikings eyeing Adam Thielen. I could see it benefiting both teams. Thielen is definitely a decent receiver. I mean, he's nothing special, of course. If he does leave or does go to Vikings, it'll definitely benefit players like Xavier Legette and Coker. It'll definitely give them more snaps.
Yes. I think specifically Xavier Legette becomes a much more viable option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He definitely. I don't think he'd get a lot of playing time while he's there in Minnesota because he would be like at best a 3, but he would be 100% starting those first 3 games.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall, once Jordan Addison were to come back, Adam Thielen probably gets bumped down from my overall rankings that I have him at right now, but not a ton. But I think Xavier Legette probably goes up 5 to 10 spots in what I would rank him, just because I think he'll get a ton more targets.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a whole lot more targets that way.
Yeah. I think I think it could be good for both teams and Thielen at the same time. Malik Nabers' fantasy impact. I think he's just going to be great again this year. I mean, last year he had I think you said 170 targets, which is huge. That's a huge share, and I don't see why it wouldn't change. I could even see it possibly getting more.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of guys to steal many targets from him. I think Wendell Robinson's production can go up, but I think Darius Slayton's would go down then more.
Yeah.
Not Malik Nabers.
Yeah, and like with the new quarterbacks, all 3 of them are definitely better than Daniel Jones. And we know like Russ, he's perfectly
adequate,
liable quarterback to have. I mean, we saw what he did in Pittsburgh. He still played pretty decent in Pittsburgh. Jameis, that dude can chuck the ball down the field to anybody, and he's willing to do it. He doesn't care. And the rookie, Jackson Dart, he's been looking pretty promising in preseason. So, I mean, all 3 would be pretty good options for him. I'm
excited about what Jackson Dart can do in that offense if Daboll stays there. And I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up at some point becoming the starter in the season. But not until, I think that they're going to make sure he's ready. And if they can show that they have progress going, I think that's what the Colts could have done. Also, to quote-unquote save their jobs. If they had shown that there was progress for AR, significant progress, no matter what the record was, maybe you can stick around some more. And I think that that's the plan for the Giants. They're going to try and stay competent with their team, but also show that they can make huge progress with this quarterback who has high upside. Jameis Winston is kind of – he's I would say a better version of Joe Flacco, at least at this point in their careers, but not somebody you want to start as a fantasy quarterback, but trust immensely to have a really good receiver for fantasy. And Jameis Winston will chuck that ball to Malik Nabers all day long.
Yeah.
If he were the starter. But I think that if somebody else becomes a starter, unless Wilson gets hurt early or something, that would probably end up being Jackson Dart.
Yeah. Caleb Williams. I mean, he's looked so that first preseason game, he looked great. That was against backups. Then yesterday, pretty sure at least most of the Chiefs starters were playing. And there were some times there was some good and there was some bad. There was that play specifically that was asked from Ben Johnson. Caleb held on to it, resulted in a sack. Caleb held on to the ball for 5 seconds. I think it's being kind of blown out of proportion, in my opinion. It's one play. I mean, of course, there's going to be some where he's holding the ball for a decent amount, but none of them ended up resulting in a sack or anything. Right. I agree. You should probably try to get the ball out quicker, but sometimes plays just don't develop like that. I think it'll get better. Of course, I think it will. I think Ben Johnson's going to try, as from what we saw in the press conference, he's going to try to nip it. They've been working on that through training camp. I mean, he looks better than he did last year, And with more offensive help on the coaching side, I think it can only get better from what we saw last year.
Agreed. So whatever happened with like Eberflus coaching these guys before, the team, like the quarterbacks, Justin Fields held on to the ball way too long, trying to make a play. I think Caleb has been doing the same thing for whatever reason. And I think that's probably carrying over some for him.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he got sacked a record 68 times. 51 of those were balls that he held onto the ball for at least 4 seconds or more.
Yeah.
So a huge thing, like everybody says, is that the offensive line play is really bad, or was really bad the last couple of years in Chicago. And yeah, I mean, watching it, I would agree. But was it as bad as people trying to make it, or was it a combination of the quarterback? I mean, it obviously was a combination of the quarterback just holding on to the ball too long and making it seem like the line wasn't as good. However, I would say that part of the reason he held on to the ball for so long was because he was able to get away from the initial pass rush as well.
Yeah. I mean, the same problem was what was happening with Fields. So, like, when a team has two quarterbacks that does that in a row, that's when you start raising eyebrows, right?
How much was it coaching too? Why are they putting him in a position where he's still got a bunch of five-step drops?
Yeah.
If you're wanting to get the ball out quickly, why not have a little more with the 3-step drops and everything else?
Yeah, exactly. And with no offensive help last year, I think it really, I mean, he still had, I wouldn't say he had a bad season last year either, even with how bad that coaching staff was. So that like makes me think it's even more promising for him, his future is.
I would say last year, Williams was a better fantasy quarterback than he was real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect he'll probably be a little bit of the same again this year. But I think he's going to make some big strides.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't, it'll be because he is not mentally tough enough.
Mm-hmm.
I truly think that.
Yeah. I think this is definitely a important season for him.
He's not used to somebody calling him out in public. And Ben Johnson's not afraid to do that. So we'll see how that impacts the situation as well.
Yep. Yeah. I think this first couple weeks of the season will show like if he's really progressed quite a bit or not. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready. One more week or 2 more weeks?
Two more weeks. And we will 2 weeks from this past Thursday will be the kickoff on Thursday night. And I'm stoked.
Sweet. I'm ready.
I'm beyond ready.
All right. Well,
for sure.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Thank you guys.